Greetings to all. Today's video primarily focuses on Cambodia and its political future in the post-COVID era. With surprising shifts in the milieu under the Hun Sen administration, Cambodia's relation with China is put to question, as Cambodia, with 17 other countries, joined the close group of friends to defend the UN Charter. Joining us today, we have Sam Rainsy, the former finance minister of Cambodia and the leader of the opposition. Currently, he is the president of the Cambodian National Rescue Party. Rainsy's work are also embedded with his political activism and economics.
To begin with, there has been a little buzz around the newly formed body, which has come to known as the Close Group of Friends to defend the United Nations Charter. And Cambodia, along with 17 other countries, have signed the proposed bill to this. How would you like to justify Cambodia's position into it?
As a matter of principle, this initiative to uphold and to defend the UN Charter, it's very good in principle. But the problem is that some of the countries who have taken this initiative, they don't respect this principle. Themselves, they don't respect it. They said they want legality to prevail over force. But some of the initiators or the signatories of this initiative, they have violated the very charter of the UN. They have used force against their own people or against neighboring countries. So I'm thinking of Russia. Russia did use force to annex Crimea. So this is not a legal move. It is a violation of the UN Charter. So how come Russia now pretend that they want to uphold the UN Charter? It's very strange.
All right, sir, as a follow-up to the question, to the statement that you have made, just wanted to ask you that do you feel that the close group of friends to defend the UN Charter is a lobby against the West? And do you feel that Cambodia's participation in this is entirely justified?
Yes, it's a kind of lobby intended to blur the line between legality and the use of force. So it will, I think this group will try to condemn the West and to justify the illegal move by some of the signatories. So I think it's not very useful. On the contrary, it's misleading. So Cambodia, my native country, should not join such a misleading initiative.
The concept of debt diplomacy is multifaceted and divergent. Would you agree that Cambodia has become a victim of China's debt diplomacy over several infrastructural projects that were signed with the country?
Yes, it's very dangerous because China is pouring lots of money in poor, small countries like Cambodia. But another characteristic of the small, poor countries where China is increasing her influence is the fact that those countries are very corrupt. Very corrupt. No accountability, no rule of law, corruption is systemic. So China can buy anything, can buy everybody among the leaders of such a country. So it's very dangerous for the countries who have fallen into this debt trap led by China.
All right, sir. Beginning as a reciprocal question to that, if you had to explain Cambodia's position and also with regards to the depth diplomacy, how would you best explain that?
Hun Sen is a very negligent, very reckless, and Cambodia has remained one of the poorest countries in the world. In spite of massive international assistance, the country remains very, very poor. Therefore, no matter the amount of money you pour into such a country with such a poor leadership, the country will remain poor and remain very miserable. So China, knowing that Hun Sen is desperate for funds, because the West cannot provide fund without limit to the Hun Sen regime, and the assistance from the West, from the international financial institutions like the World Bank, etc., it comes with scrutiny. There must be transparency. You have to give a lot of information. What is the money used for? How it is used, etc. Does it really benefit those who need it most? But with the China loans, you don't have such requirements. Actually, Chinese loans feed and encourage corruption. Therefore, it is not beneficial to the country. It is rather detrimental. And when Cambodia succeeds in implementing democracy, we will revise all these loans, and actually we will find grounds not to reimburse such controversial loans.
All right, sir. The COVID-19 pandemic has most certainly changed the economies of a lot of countries. But given the political situation in Cambodia, do you somewhere feel that the Cambodian government has tried to protect China from the backlash of the global pandemic?
Yes, Hun Sen is definitely siding with China. In the dispute in the South China Sea, we can see that Cambodia under Hun Sen is defending China, is blocking any move by the ASEAN countries to show solidarity, to uphold legality precisely. And Hun Sen has blocked any joint statement condemning China. Therefore, China used all her influence to penetrate Cambodia deeper and further, and through this increasing amount of loans, China is controlling everything in Cambodia. So this situation is not only sad for the Cambodian people, but it is very dangerous for the region, because if there is any conflict, any war breaking up, then China will use all the facilities that the Hun Sen regime has given her, because many infrastructures could be turned into military facilities overnight.
All right. So recently, since we follow a lot of things that are done on Twitter, we saw that you made a tweet regarding the ASEAN nations. So, sir, what would you like to comment on that, and where do you find Cambodia fitted into it?
Many of us think that the principle of non-interference is outdated. It may be justified in the past, 30, 40 years ago, but now it has become irrelevant. because this concept of non-interference clashes with the concept of humanity. We all are part of humanity, and humanity implies solidarity. When you see a regime in any country ill-treating or killing its own people, you cannot stand either. Humanity requires you to show solidarity and to do what you can to help victims all over the world. For instance, what is very shocking is the killing of innocent people in Myanmar. So Cambodia is a part of ASEAN. Therefore, there are many, several ASEAN leaders, like-minded politicians who have come together and have issued this joint statement yesterday on the 17th of March, calling for the ASEAN countries to abandon the concept of non-interference and to embrace the concept of humanity and solidarity.
All right. And so now that we see that countries have some sort of developed a coping mechanism to deal with the pandemic, and most countries, although in their recession, have started with certain sort of economic plans to again get the rise of economic activities in their countries. So how do you think that Cambodia should fight back? Cambodia's economy should fight back, and in what approach it should?
Again, it's a matter of solidarity. We have received in the form of vaccines assistance from the Western world. The contributors are mainly Western countries. So Cambodia must be neutral in any world dispute. When it comes to defend her interests, we should be open to all countries, all powers, in order to serve our interests, Cambodia's interests, but also to help consolidate world peace.
All right. So lastly, concluding this, I would just like to ask that, of course, the pandemic has affected state and non-state actors and also the lives of individuals and citizens all across the world. And we also are slowly starting to see a shift in foreign policy all across. So what would be your message to the Hun Sen administration, and how do you think that Cambodia should cater to the shift in global policies and foreign policies as well?
We should stick to the principle of neutrality. We must not side with any countries which are engaged in any conflict with other countries. So neutrality is enshrined in our constitution, and it is also enshrined in the 1991 peace agreement on Cambodia. So Cambodia is obliged to abide by strict neutrality, and we should be happy and grateful to receive assistance from all countries, all powers in the world.
All right, sir. So that brings an end to this interview. And it was really good interacting with you. And I hope that even in the future, we do get a chance to interact with you and maybe work on some projects as well.
I am very happy to discuss many important issues with you, Harishita, and
Thank you, sir.
hope that we would meet again.